What is up, guys? Thanks for tuning in. I wanted to make this video. This is the day after my derma rolling session from last night. So I made a video last night. You can look at it. It should be on my channel, listed under my beard journey, my minoxidil beard journey week 3. That's the video I made last night. This is the next day after that. So if you remember, this video is specifically going to be talking about the Dermaroller. And unfortunately, I come to work very early in the morning. I leave my house at 4:30 in the morning, so sometimes I'm not exactly 100% cognizant of what I need to bring. I forget shit a lot of times. So I forgot to bring the Dermaroller today. I was going to show it and everything, but it's in that video. And if you don't know what one is, just a simple Google search will just tell you what one is. So what I did last night when I got it in the mail was I wanted to do a couple of test patches, like I said on the video, to make sure and see how long it's going to take for the skin to kind of turn back to normal color. Because basically when you rub that thing over your face or your head or wherever you're going to use it, if you rub it hard enough, your skin bleeds. Sorry, I've got this, I can't get over this sickness from a week ago. Basically your skin bleeds, and for a minute, and then you wipe it off, but your skin stays red. It stays in that damaged state, and then it repairs itself. So I just want to see, I don't know how long. Everybody's different, everybody's skin heals differently, so I wanted to see how long it was going to take, because I'm at work right now, obviously, and I work in a place where you can't wear hats or anything. So I didn't want to do it on my head or my face, my eyes, whatever, and come in and my whole face and head are beet red like a tomato. People be asking me questions, and it just looks ridiculous. So I did a couple of test areas. I did one here last night, I did one up here, and I did just over here. Again, very small, like this area, I mean, we're talking probably this much. Over here, again, this much, and then on my head, just basically this area right here. So I did, and I'll tell you, this thing is, it definitely, I don't want to say it hurts. I mean, it does kind of hurt, but it's something that you can, you can definitely feel it. So if you watch videos on it, you'll see a lot of people will get numbing creams and apply it to their face or wherever they're actually going to do the rolling. But I used my 1 millimeter last night on these areas, and yeah, it definitely, I could definitely feel it. The skin is very thin right here. It's not doing it on your arm or something. The skin is very thin. I could definitely feel it. I mean, it made my eyes close. I was like, wow, this is intense. But again, I guess from pain will come pleasure. That's the theory. Like I said, I've seen a lot of videos on people that are doing it. But yeah, basically, and a lot of people argue the concept of how it works. And I mean, I'm sure women as well as men can attest to this. So for me, for example, when I used, obviously I'm growing a beard, or trying to, if you watched any of my other videos, but when I shaved, I used to have, before I started this, I had a clean shaven face, every couple of days, nice and clean. But I've been shaving for what, 30 years, not 30 years, probably 25 years at least, 26 years. So over that past 26 years, there's bound to be a time, especially when I was in the military, where you're shaving and you cut yourself. I mean, women probably shave their legs or their armpits. I'm sure they've cut their legs and stuff like that too. One thing you notice is that when you're shaving, you get a little nick, you put some water on it, or aftershave or whatever, alcohol, and then after a couple of days, you don't see, you see a cut initially, but after a couple of days, you don't see a cut anymore. There's no scar. That's if you do it normal. Now, if you go deep enough, if you're shaving and you actually catch a piece of skin really hard, and you actually rip some skin off, there normally will be a scar there. Right here, actually, see if you can see it. I don't think you can. there's hair right here, but there's actually a little dot in there when sometimes I would shave my head with a razor, and I would be shaving, and sometimes I used a double-edged blade, you know, stainless steel blade, one of those old school ones, and when I would go down, I accidentally, because those are like very sharp, and I like peeled a little bit of skin off, and unfortunately, you know, I had a little scab there, so it looked stupid, but I have a little tiny scar there. So if you go deep enough, you know, you will have a scar, and I'm curious to see too. So if you think about it, you know, however long you've been shaving, whether it's 20 years, 30 years, 40 years, if every single cut you ever got on your face didn't go away, I mean, shit, half the population, you'd see little cuts everywhere, little scars of cuts all over the place. Again, it's only when you go super deep that you get a cut. Same with like your fingers and your arms. I mean, how many cuts have you gotten on your fingers and your arms over the years, and you don't really have any scars unless it was like really, really deep? You know, I have a gash on my leg that I got when I was 15 years old, and the scar is still there. I actually had nerve damage there too, like I can't even feel that spot. So, but that was a deep, like, that gash went all the way down to the bone. But when you get these little like paper cuts and all that, like look at your fingers, I mean, there's no scars of paper cuts all over the place. It's because that's you know, you didn't go deep enough. So that's basically the theory behind the dermarolling. Because the needles, again, ooh, yeah, that was nasty. I just watched a girl vomit right in the parking lot. I just happened to look over, and I saw this girl just spit up her whole lunch. That was not appetizing at all. Oh my God, that was gross. Anyway, and I'm gonna smoke here in a second. So, but anyway, you know, so theoretically, the way it works is these needles that you're using, like the one I showed in my video yesterday. And for all of you that don't know, yes, I know this is part of my bad skin and all that. So this video is not like anti-smoking, you know, you shouldn't smoke and your skin will heal. Like, I know all that already. I don't need any of that. I enjoy smoking. I'll tackle that when I'm ready. This is other things. Yes, I know it would help in the process of repairing skin, and so yeah, I get it. But anyway, so if you think about what I was saying about shaving and cutting your skin, it's basically the same theory as the dermarolling, because the needles that I got come in 3 different sizes. 0.5 millimeters, 1 millimeter, and then 1.5 millimeters. So now that's not really that thick. I mean, that long. I mean, you're talking, you know, 5 millimeters. That's like this. You know, 1 millimeter is like this, and then, you know, I mean, you're barely talking anything. So, you know, again, theoretically, it works the same as shaving. So, you know, when I go over my face here and I broke the skin, you know, it has like 500 needles on it. When this started bleeding, when I wiped it off with water, a wet cloth, it stopped bleeding, and I didn't see any, there's no little holes or anything there that I could see anyway. And now today, and let's see if I can get close enough. This camera is not the same as the one I was using last night in the video, so you might be able to see right here. It's a little red right there. Let me see it. It's still, I mean, I can feel it. It's a little tender. Same with up here. I can feel it, but it's not beet red like it was yesterday. So theoretically, it is okay. You bleed a little bit, so you damage to your skin, just like when you're shaving. Well, what happens is the blood, you know, the body sends a signal of trauma, like, oh crap, we got a cut here. We need to send some cells, and, you know, to repair that damage. So it comes back. It creates new skin, new collagen, and it actually makes it look better than before. Hence why you don't see any cuts. Now, when you get a scar, you're so deep that it won't do that. But at least not on its own. When you get little cuts, it will heal itself. But if you go too deep, it won't. But again, people have been using this dermaroller for scars. So they're saying that if you can get that scar to bleed, the blood keeps coming up there, it keeps repairing itself until eventually you don't see anything. You know, so that's the same theory with the beard and with the hair. So you're breaking your vessels here in order to, it does other things besides boost collagen, which is one of the main reasons why they tell you if you're going to use minoxidil on your face or on your head while you're dermarolling, make sure you wait 24 hours, because as soon as you break your skin, your body immediately releases, you know, stem cells and collagen to try to build that skin up. Well, minoxidil actually, from what I've read, I don't know if there's scientific evidence of this, but from a lot of stuff that I've read in studies, there's some people that say minoxidil actually inhibits collagen production, which is why that's, you know, your skin's so dry and everything. So if you were to roll your face, and then you would think, though, again, common sense says, well, what does minoxidil do? It speeds up the process of blood flow. Well, how do you put it on? You put it on topically so that it soaks into your skin and gets into your system. Thereby you say, well, if I break the skin and I put minoxidil on it, technically it would absorb faster, because you have open wounds. You're not trying to just let it lay on your skin and soak in. You actually have cuts. You can get it right into the bloodstream immediately. Now that's true, but if it's counteracting what you're trying to do, you know, it's kind of like there's really nothing that causes baldness in the heads like that you're doing on your own. So I guess it would be, they say that DHT is part of the reason, you know, men's hair falls out. So I guess it would be kind of like putting Rogaine on your head and then following it up by taking a DHT booster, like to increase DHT. You're doing, it's counterproductive. So they say wait 24 hours, let the collagen come up to wherever you're damaging, let it do its thing, then put Rogaine on there, or minoxidil, or whatever you're using. Because when you also damage your skin on the head, it's creating not only new collagen and everything, but it also is increasing the blood flow to your head, because when you damage it, again, because there's no difference in the body's response from your face, your head, or your crown, or the top of your head. A cut is a cut. So if you cut your head, your body's going to treat it the same way as you cut your face, or you cut your arm, or you cut your leg. It's going to send out damage repair, and it's going to go here, and so that's going to increase blood flow automatically. And there's some people that say it actually produces a new hair follicle during that process over time. Again, this isn't something like I'm going to roll my head Friday, and then on Monday morning I'm going to wake up and I'm going to have like a, you know, back to what I looked like when I was 15. That's never going to happen, no matter what. The only way, I mean, I don't even think a hair transplant will get you back to exactly where you were when you had your original hairline. Like if you had, like me, like my hairline used to be like down here, and I mean, I was like, I had hair, so much hair, it was ridiculous. Like I almost couldn't style it. It was so thick. But I'm never going to get that again. That is an unrealistic expectation. Anybody who uses any products thinking you're going to go back to like your youth and have the same full thick ass hair ahead that you had when you were a kid, that's unrealistic expectations. Like, it's just not even. My goal is to get coverage to the point where I can let my hair grow out and you don't see my scalp. It doesn't have to be all the way down here, you know. I mean, even a tiny bit of thinning would be better than growing and having like a giant bald spot. Like that's, you know, that's what I don't want. So that's what I'm trying to achieve. I'm not expecting, again, to do this for like 6 months and then all of a sudden I have like a thick mane, you know, and I look like Superman, you know, with just a thick ass head of hair. That's setting myself up for failure. So if you have realistic expectations going in, like, you know, hey, you're just looking for some coverage, then it may work for you. So that's the theory behind the dermarolling. I wish I had one so I could, you know, at least demonstrate. But I mean, I will tell you, you know, if your pain threshold is low, you know, like you may want to get some numbing cream, because like when I said, now the couple of times that I did it yesterday, I actually forgot. They say that when you do it, you want your skin as soft as possible when you're going to do it, which makes sense. Kind of the same theory as, you know, if you're going to plant flowers, You know, it's easier to work on wet dirt than it is on dry dirt, like wet dirt, or not necessarily mud, but like dirt that has moisture in it. It digs up very easily. You can maneuver it around and everything. When the dirt is very dry, you know, like shovels won't even go into it, or it breaks off in little chunks. Very hard to work with. So it's pretty much the same theory. So they say if you're going to use it on your face, you know, either do it when you get out of the shower or after you wash your face with warm water. Nothing to do with opening pores, and just to loosen the skin up. And so when I first got the Dermaroller yesterday, I forgot all about that. So I was like rolling the very first spot I did was right here. So I took it and I'm rolling, and I'm like, I wasn't pressing very hard. I'm like, wow, that's interesting. I can feel that. So then I started pressing it. I'm like, oh man, that's intense. And, you know, and I went this way, had a little blood, and I went this way, and then this way, and this way. And I was like, wow, that's crazy. And then I go, oh, I forgot to wet my, you know, get wet. So it might not hurt as much or take as much time if my, you know, skin was damp. So then I washed my face, and that's when I did it right here. Now, it still hurt. I mean, I'm not saying it was like, oh, yay, great. It still hurt like hell, but the skin broke easier, I feel now, because this skin here, I mean, this, you know, this skin is like super thin right here. I mean, I can feel you know, there's not much meat here. Same with here. You know, there's not much. There's meat here, not as much obviously as like on your arm or something. So I haven't done like my cheek area. I just did this little guy here. It definitely didn't hurt as much as up here. So I'm already prepared that when I do this, you know, there's going to be some pain there. But I definitely going to do it like after I get out of the shower. And yeah, you know, it does bleed. But again, it's not like gushing. You're talking little tiny pinholes. I mean, I guess I would compare it to, you know, getting a tattoo. If you ever have a tattoo, you know, and it's not as long. Like when you get a tattoo, you're in there for, you know, a couple hours. Depending on how big, it could be a couple different times for a couple hours. Whereas this, it's for literally like, if you know, press hard enough, 10 or 15 seconds, maybe 30 seconds. So we're not talking about a super long period of time here. But again, it is unpleasant. It's not pain-free. And I even asked my wife this, because she looked at the needles and she was like, oh my God, you're gonna run that over your face? She's like, that's gonna hurt like hell. I said, yeah, but let me ask you, if you were told, like, if there was a guarantee, again, there's no guarantees in life, but if there was a guarantee that you could get rid of all your wrinkles, but all you had to do was endure some pain once a week for, say, 5 minutes total, if you're doing whatever, would you do it? She's like, oh my God, yeah, I would do it. I'm like, exactly. You know, the pleasure outweighs the pain. Yes, it hurts while you're doing it, but the effects long term are beneficial. So if somebody told me, hey, now again, I know there's no guarantee, but if somebody said, hey, if you rub this thing on your head, and you only do it, the study that came out that showed the regrowth in hair on the head, they were only doing it once a week, and they used a 1.5, so that big one I showed on my video, but they did it once a week, and then minoxidil the day after, twice a day. So they did minoxidil, they rolled, no minoxidil on their head for 24 hours. After that, then you do it twice a day for another week until you get back to the day where you roll your head again. So we're basically talking about once a week. And they did it for 12 weeks, and again, significant changes. So what's that, 12 weeks from now, we'll call it, you know, it's going to be Labor Day next week. So, you know, 12 weeks from Labor Day would be what? All of September, all of October, all of November. So if I started this on Labor Day, basically by December 1st, which is not that long, and that's how long their study was. And they have before and after pictures, and those people had some serious hair growth, or hair regrowth rather. I mean, and we're talking, you know, we're talking pretty bald people, not like skin horseshoe bald, but we're talking significant, like patches missing, definite big receding hairlines. One guy he would probably look like me. He had, like, you could see that he has been balding probably for about a decade. He's still got some hair here, but you can see how the horseshoe, it's thick here and thin up here. And his was filled in. Not super thick, but significantly better than when they started. And you're talking just 3 months. So for me, if I did it this Friday, that would actually be basically like Thanksgiving. I should have some sort of noticeable results. So that's what I'm going to do. And if it doesn't work, again, right, I'm out 15 bucks. But what if it does? What if it does work? That's my thing. I've tried all the drugs. Now I will say, in my mid to late 20s, I started on Propecia. And that did work. It actually worked really well. I had significant regrowth. I was back. It worked. And then I got married and I got off of it, and I was like, fuck it, I got married now, not that my wife, didn't want me to have hair, but I was like, I got other things to worry about now. I'm married. I can't be spending money on, because at the time when I was in my mid to late 20s, Propecia was expensive. It was like $80 to $90 for one bottle for a 1 month supply. It was expensive. Now it's freaking ridiculously cheap. You can get, because the patent came off, so you can get your Propecia or your finasteride or whatever. You can get that for I think for a 3 month supply, I paid at Costco, it was like 18 bucks for a 3 month supply, generic version. Now, the makers of that, Merck, they still charge $80. Well, why they do it, I don't know. They still charge, because I get my medicine, most of it through Costco, because you get a slight discount. But when I went there last time, I haven't bought Propecia in probably 6 months. I still have a bunch of it at home I haven't used, and I probably won't. I might. Well, my wife's thinking we might have another kid, so I don't want to introduce that into my body if I'm gonna have another kid. And I know I've done the research, and they say it's actually not a big deal. And I was on Propecia actually when my wife got pregnant the first time, and my kid was fine, there was no issues. But I don't want to push my luck. That was I feel like that was a fluke. I don't want to say he was an accident, because he wasn't, but again, a different topic. So I'm not on anything right now for the hair treatment other than the minoxidil. I basically have left it alone for the last 5 or so years, 5-6 years. So I know finasteride does work. Now, maybe once I get my wife pregnant, I might go on it, and then, just again, to help and accelerate and do all that stuff. And some people say, well, how will you know? If finasteride worked for you once, and then you do the dermarolling and the minoxidil and the Propecia, how will you know which one works? My answer is, I don't care which one works. If it works, it works. I'm not going to be like, well, I don't know which one works. I'll have hair. I don't care which one works. Maybe it's all 3, maybe it's 1, maybe it's 2. Who cares? The goal is to get hair. Get my hair back one more time. That's my goal. Because when I did have hair, and I was very confident, and again, my wife and everybody says I look fine now with when I buzz my head like this, but they just don't get it. Just don't get it. A hair is important to a guy. At least it is to me. Some people don't care. Some guys, they're like, hey, I'm bald, that's it, screw it, and that's cool. I got no problem with that. But some people aren't. I just want one last shot to see if maybe I can, get some of this back before I'm really old. So I'm definitely, looking forward to trying that out and seeing what happens. Like I said, my plan is to try that on a Friday. This Friday, I would definitely try it and see if it works. It looks like I'm not super red, and again, so I did it once. So basically, this would be like the weekend. So, if I was pretending it was the weekend, yesterday would be Friday, today would be Saturday, tomorrow will be Sunday. So if it looks good by the end of the day tomorrow, if you can't even tell I did anything, then I'll go ahead and just do it Friday, and hope that the rest of my skin acts like this part, and this part. And I'm going to be making videos on that too. I'll probably do it in conjunction with, the minoxidil beard thing, but I might make it separate. Like this one is pretty much all about the Dermaroller. I'm not really talking about minoxidil beard stuff. I know I kind of went on a rant It's a pretty long video. Kudos to you if you made it all the way through. If you have questions, or again, I didn't put any links in the description for products because I don't want you guys to feel like I'm trying to sell something. I'll gladly give it to you if you want, but I'll wait. So again, thanks for watching. Thanks for spending some time with me while I'm bored at lunch at work, and we'll see you on the next one.